Nano, it's
you.
yeah, it's great to see you. And last time we spoke, we were talking about your self-produced album and thesis.
Yeah.
And at that time, you were about to release it, so it wasn't out yet. But considering that album had the theme of flowering,
Yeah.
and since then, how do you feel like you have evolved as a musician, and has your process kind of like changed when you do music?
Yeah. It's sort of funny. It feels like a long time ago that I released the album already. There's been so much since then that I've experienced, and I do feel like I evolved a lot since then. And so even now, like I look back at the time I created the album, at that time it was the first time I was kind of like finally flying out. Like, I've been cooped up in a place where I was safe and protected for a really long time, but it was like my first fly out into the world was my self-produced album and thesis. And so I was really like, I put a lot of that emotion that I wanted to be free. I wanted to be on my own feet. And since then, though, I feel like over the couple of years since that has happened, I feel more confident now as a musician. And I'm able to choose what I like and don't like to do. Like, I feel like my song and my expression now is really genuinely more me, like more nano and real. And so, like, I just as a person, I think I've grown a lot stronger since that album. And as a musician, I've become more genuine and more really nano. And, but like my main motivation or my main goal hasn't not really changed.
Mhm.
And which is to keep flying out, flying out, flying out to bigger horizons, reaching out to more people, seeing the world really now. And that's really happened over the last few years since that album. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you talk about how you make your music more genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any tangible examples that something that you do that is different from before?
In terms of like song creation in itself, I don't think it's that different. But what has really changed is when I sing those songs during a live show or when I um, actually sing it live, that's really where I feel the difference. Since the songs and in general are more genuine and more me, I feel that when I sing it live for people, when I, go on stage, I feel more confident on stage. I feel more like I'm expressing who I really am. And so the past few years where I've been going on stage all over the world, it's so exciting for me and it's so like meaningful. And I feel like I connect with the audience a lot more than I used to be able to do that. And I'm literally now like I'm not trying to be nano. I am nano more or less. And that was difficulty for me when I was still starting out. Like I didn't know who I was as a musician, and even as a person, I was not as confident. So I was always trying to be nano,
Yeah.
what I thought was sort of like an ideal nano.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's I think being yourself is so important, especially in this generation. So I'm really, really happy that I'm able to do that on stage now. And I'm so like every single show that I do is just such an excitement for me. Like I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's so fun going on stage, seriously. And like every time I do it, it's just, it's just like I always think like, how am I allowed to have so much fun? Like, is this even allowed? I feel bad in a way having so much fun. It's not work for me. So
yeah, I mean, you mentioned it sounded cheesy. I think it's profound.
oh wow, thank you.
I mean, especially with your background, is a lot different than a lot of artists. I feel that to be able to kind of break out of that shell and actually be nano that you are today is a big step.
Thank you so much.
After having self-produced this album, what have you found is the most rewarding from this experience?
I think there are different stages in an artist's career, and of course, each and every musician or artist have their own like motivations, have their own goals. So it's different for each artist. But for me, I feel like the ultimate goal that I have is to actually, I keep saying this, but be genuine, be realistic. And, since then, that has really, really set in. And I just feel like, since I also write my own lyrics, I do feel like it really affects the lyrics as well to be genuine. And so lately, when I create songs, I really like connect with the songs as well. And ever since that album Antithesis, I do feel like all the songs that I do are very, very me and very, very me at the moment that I write them. And I'm not really afraid anymore to put myself into them. Like, I used to be a little bit scared to show my weaknesses within those songs, but now I feel like, I am proud of the 10, 12 years that I've been doing music. And so, it's all me, and I'm allowed to put those into those songs. And maybe somewhere in the world, someone will hear it and connect with it and feel like, it's giving them some power or a push on their back or something like that. So I think music is never ending. It's like a cycle of power.
Yeah.
So I just want to keep that cycle going and going and going. So yeah.
When you mentioned that you were a bit scared to show your true self, was that to protect the persona of NANO, or was that to more kind of like protect yourself?
I think a little bit of both, but more so to protect myself, because I think when we grow up as, like kids and teenagers, we're all really sensitive, and there are some things that we feel when we're younger that leave scars in us, even as adults. And of course, a lot of people do get over those scars and sort of traumas as they, grow older.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's more harder to leave those scars behind. And for me, I'm the latter, where I did have a lot of like, pains and scars from my childhood that I dragged on as an adult. And music was a huge key for me to be able to overcome those scars. And I guess like music was one of the sole reasons that I was able to do that. And in the beginning, of course, like, I was still very insecure, and I had a lot of traumas and, scars about my past. And so those scars, I felt like were not meant to be seen by the world. I felt like, there were things that I had to tough out or hide within myself. And so all my older songs, when I look back on it and look at the lyrics and everything, they're really about like toughing it out or like, being strong or, fighting. And, I probably felt the need to be able to look strong, act strong, because I was weak on the inside. But, as time went on and I was healed by the music and by the people that I was reaching out to, like I was healed a lot by my fans as well. And so, eventually my lyrics started changing a little bit, and it was more about, not about acting strong, but being strong inside and feeling strong, and that does come, it does take time, but it is, possible for everyone to be able to reach those stages in their life. So
yeah, you've gone from making songs that shows that you're strong, and then as time passed, they were more about making them empowering to the listeners. Is that the case?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And Thesis, just a short question first. Do you feel like that was a difficult process?
Oh, yeah. It was because now that I look back on it, I'm really proud of the album, and I don't have any like regrets or like I wish I had done this way. I don't have those kinds of thoughts. But at the time, though, I didn't know, like, it's not like mathematics where there's a right answer. Like, it's not, you don't look at the back and say, oh yeah, that was the right answer. The album itself is just a huge like challenge, and it's just like experimentation. And so now it's the right answer as an album. But during the making process of it, I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know what to do. I have all the ingredients in front of me, but I don't know what I'm about to make. I don't even know what I'm trying to make. And I don't know how to mix these ingredients together to make a good dish. You know, if it's like, how do I do it? And there was no one to teach me that because I was self-producing it.
Yeah.
But I guess like in the end, because I listened to my instinct or listened to my heart, in the end, I was just, led by that. And with the help of so many other people around me, my staff, band members, songwriters, creators, all these people that, were willing to help me, I was able to create something that was really, from the inside.
Yeah.
But it was very difficult at the time, though. Yeah. And I thought, wow, I have a lot on my plate. What have I gotten myself into? But yeah, it was a challenge that I just needed and wanted to take. So
yeah, I guess when you have such a big opportunity to kind of do anything, it might be even more difficult because of like all the paths that you can take. And despite this being a difficult project, would you do it again or something similar in the future?
Actually, at the moment, after I've done Anthesis, if I were to do something completely like really self-produced again, it would be maybe another 10 years from now. I wouldn't immediately do it. The reason is because I want to be able to learn more, experience more, and change more, evolve more before I have that chance again. Right now, I think since Anthesis and as like a musician now, I'm in the stage of learning again. Like it's like school, learn, test. And you have to learn before you take the test or else you can't really, succeed in your tests.
Yeah.
And I'm in that stage again where I'm like trying to absorb and learn as much as possible. And after Anthesis though, I've graduated to the next step. So I'm not like doing the same learning again as I was in my first 10 years. I feel like I've gone to maybe from middle school to high school or something right now. So I've leveled up and there are much more difficult things to learn right now, much more, the level's higher, it's more difficult, but I need that in order to be able to create something like that again. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to work with as many new people as possible, try to, it's very important to always be willing to be taught something. Like even if you are an artist for a very long time, some people might think that they're good enough not to take advice from people anymore. Like I can do it by myself. But I do feel like no matter how long you keep doing this, you have to be willing and open to take advice, take tips from people.
Yeah.
And so that's the only way to really evolve. Keep evolving. So, right now I look to people that I admire. Like I look at other artists and I'm like, dang, I'm so envious of them. But that means that I can learn from them. If there's something that I envy about someone, that means that it's a chance for me to learn from them. And I try to make a positive sort of shift there.
Yeah.
And so, I think just throw your negativity and your, stuff out the window because that's only going to keep you back. Going forward.
I love that approach. It's a very humble approach. And I think that also will allow you to evolve because of that.
Thank you.
And it's quite unreal that it's been about 12 years since your debut. So we're going back a little bit here when you released Noise, spelled with an X.
Yes.
Very edgy.
Yes.
That album conveyed sound that comes out of NANO. What would you consider being the most monumental thing during that 10th anniversary, if not the album itself?
I guess, the 10th year isn't any different from like the 9th year or the 11th year. But for me, I felt like it was just a chance for me to really look back at the 10 years that I've done music. And also, in retrospect, look to the future as well. And so it's like a really, like, in a good meaning, a very, like, jumbled mixture album.
Mhm.
And it's not just about something new, it's not just about something old. Usually when artists tend to release 10th anniversary albums, it's an album about like the 10 years that they've come and they look back a lot. I was like, no, I am totally gonna look to the future as well, like because I'm that kind of person where I always have to keep moving forward, or else I feel like I'm not doing something. I don't want to be like in the same place for a really long time. So, like the 10th album for me was not just about looking back to the past, but looking forward to the future. And so, um, it was really difficult making the album because I was sort of like, so what kind of songs do I put into an album that is about my past but is also about my future? Like, do I do songs that people are feel like, oh yeah, that's so nostalgic, that's magenta all over again? Or do I do new songs that people are like, whoa, that's so new, I've never heard something like that from Nano before? So it was really like hard to be able to find the right noises.
Yeah.
But in the end I was just like, well, let's do a little bit of everything. So I did stuff that I felt was very nostalgic, but at the same time I did stuff that I felt we'd never done before. But those new noises that I did was really tough for me as well, because I wasn't experienced in those genres, or I didn't know how to express like in the same way that I've always been expressing myself in the new sound. And I did collaborations that I really hadn't had a chance to do before. I also did cover songs that I had been apart from for a really long time. And I just did everything that I wanted to do in a little bit of everything. It was like a huge French cuisine, and there was like an appetizer and the main dish, and then, like soup, salad, and then a dessert.
Yeah.
And some wine afterwards. And,
What would you consider being the dessert?
The dessert. Oh my gosh, the dessert. Well, I guess for me, there's a song that I wrote directly for my fans.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really just very sweet for me. Like, it was a sweet tooth, and it was like ice cream for me. It was like, my love and my feelings towards my fans.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was like a little bit of the dessert. But I don't know. Like, I also feel like cover songs I did were maybe the first dessert. Like, I love dessert, so there has to be many courses of dessert. So yeah, that was also dessert. So. But maybe most of the album was dessert. I don't know, because I like dessert.
Okay, so it's a full course of dessert.
Yes, full course of dessert. That's new.
Yeah,
that's new.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me as an old-time fan,
yeah,
I really felt quite happy when I heard that there were gonna be transliteration.
Yeah.
That for me was the dessert.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
That really brought me back to, as you mentioned, that's the nostalgic part.
Yeah.
Considering this time, it was a bit different because you chose anime songs this time. How did you select these songs?
Just ones that I had listened to like years back, that the songs that really made me grow to love anime songs in general. Like, when I was living back in the States, like, back then we didn't have access to as much anime as, easily as now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I picked up these series that were really, really popular amongst the otaku community online and stuff. And I fell in love with them. And I was like, these songs are so cool that they were the songs that made me want to become like a singer in Japan in general. Like, I would love to sing these types of musics and like see them on TV with an anime opening, animation. That would be so cool. And so they were songs that I personally fell in love with as a younger kid. And it was really hard though. Like, there were so many to choose from, but in the end, like, something that I love, but at the same time would feel natural for me to sing as a rock singer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a bit of a fanboy now when I'm basically praising you for everything you do.
Oh, no, thank you so much. It motivates me. It motivates me.
That's great, because I thought this selection was great.
Really awesome, yes.
As I mentioned, you did those as transliteration, so they weren't just covers.
Yeah.
Do you find it challenging to have to convey them in a different language?
It's funny because it is challenging, but at the same time, I love doing these transliterations. And I think it's just my strength. I've always loved doing this. And it feels like when I'm translating lyrics, it's like I don't know, it's like a hobby for me. It's like really going back and experiencing a hobby again. And I never really had a time when I was translating a song and really it was like, this is so hard and I'm not having fun. It's always really fun for me. And I guess so it's a treat for me. It's a lot easier than writing my own lyrics, to be honest, from zero, from scratch. It's because there's a story that is already expressed in Japanese. And so all I have to do is use my imagination and use my own expression to try to express that to people who might not be so understanding of the Japanese language but feel the same like excitement or the same emotions that I felt when listening to the Japanese version. I think it's so important. Some people say that maybe language is not a huge barrier when it comes to music, and to be honest, I would like to believe that. But sometimes, yes, language can be a barrier to really, really, really understanding the goodness of the song. And so, there are some otaku that are really, really fluent in Japanese, but there are people that are not so fluent in Japanese, right? But they would like to understand the goodness of the song just as much. And so the biggest challenge for me isn't the translation itself, but to make sure that I can translate in a way that the people who listen to it in Japanese and the people who listen to it in English feel the same, waku waku, the same excitement.
Absolutely. I'm going to put you on the spot here right now. But at the moment, what would you consider being the most representative of NANO today? What song would that be?
My own songs?
Yeah, your own songs.
Definitely, without a moment's hesitation, Do or Die.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Because at the moment, like I've done a couple of concerts now with Do or Die. It's a newer song, so but oh my gosh, it's a song that when I sing on stage with the crowd, it becomes complete. Like as a song itself, it's a good song and it's a rock and roll song, but the moment I sing it with my fans and the moment we do that, like there's a hand signal that I do with the fans, Do or Die. And the crowd is like, Do or Die. And it's really scary. It's really scary, but it's awesome in a good way. And like that moment is just like, it's like a euphoria. It's like,
it sounds like a cult though.
Yeah, it is. It's like a cult, but at the same time, like it's like everyone at the moment is just like, I think the amazing thing is that we all forget about everything in life when we're doing that thing, like I don't know why, but it makes us forget. And at that moment, we're just together. We're one big, huge noise together. And that's so amazing because in regular life, when do you have the chance to be able to forget about everything? When do you have the chance to just be you and just make noise, and forget the world for a moment? And so I think that song right now has that power. And it's amazing to be able to experience that wherever I go into the world, not just Japan, not just Germany, not just America, not Canada, not Asia, it's everywhere that happens. And so, definitely right now, it's amazing. But all of my songs, to be honest, are a bit, a piece of me. So whenever I sing it, I feel like it's a different piece of me. And without all those pieces put together, it's not going to make a huge puzzle. It's not like the entire puzzle. So without any of them missing, it's not going to be entire. So it's a hard choice. I think it'll be forever changing though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much that I want to keep talking about of the things that you mentioned.
Okay.
But let's continue with Do or Die.
Okay.
So that song was featured in Shadowverse F, and this song you also collaborated with Camu, right? And he's also known as Hori Shota from Penguin Research. And so can you tell us a little bit more about what was the idea of the song, and what did you and Cameron what did you want to convey with this?
Well, he and I have been working together since my, way back then for more than 10 years now. And No Pain, No Game was the first song that I worked with him. And so it's like he knows my evolution, and we feel very, very comfortable with our sounds. But he's also a very ever-changing creator.
Yeah.
So he's completely different from, the creator he was 10 years ago with No Pain, No Game. But it's like when we work together, we have that chemistry where even though we're both changing, we come back to that place where we both feel comfortable. And it's that sound that we create together that is everyone's like, even if it's like the sound is evolving, it's nostalgic in a way.
Yeah.
Like when you hear Do or Die, you kind of remember No Pain, No Game, or, the songs that we created together. And so that's why I wanted to work with him on Do or Die. I wanted there to be that, nostalgic NANO sound that I loved back then. But at the same time, I wanted it to be 10 times more amazing than No Pain, No Game. And I do feel we were able to create something that is even more powerful, is even more catchy, is even more like audience friendly. Like when I do it at concerts and stuff. Yeah, that I wanted that in there. Like I was like, I need a place inside the song where the crowd is gonna just, do that with me.
Yeah.
And so I created that portion.
It's not silence, but what would you call it?
It's like a break in the song, I guess. And I told him, yes, I want a song with a break inside that it's like a chant where the crowd is going to sing it with me. And so that was kind of like the base. And then I wanted something very edgy. I wanted something that's kind of like, come on, like a, boxer saying, come on, bring it on. And so it's very catchy, but at the same time, it's like, do or die.
Yeah, it's like you're taunting.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually wanted to ask about that part as well, about like, it was with the intention of grabbing the live audience.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How do you usually approach that with your songs?
Ever since I really, really started enjoying doing concerts and stuff, like, of course, it was my first concert, and everything after that was very fun. But at the same time, I feel like now as an artist, I'm even more so than before, enjoying doing live concerts. That's my main excitement right now. More than recording, more than creating, like doing the shows is what I live for as a musician. And so when you start really, really enjoying doing shows, and the more shows you do, you really understand that your connection with the crowd is half of the concert. Like you can't just do a concert the same, like every single stage, and it's like a replica. You can't do a replica of, the concerts.
Yeah.
And even though you rehearse and you plan everything out, everything is different. Like, things happen, the crowd is different. Sometimes the crowd is really chill and it takes a lot more oomph, come on, to get them on their feet. But sometimes the crowd is like totally like, oh, from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's different. Like the vibes are so different.
Yeah.
So like I need songs now that really the audience can enjoy and join into. It's not me just singing for the crowd and listen to me. It's not me performing anymore. It's the crowd coming to become, the show itself. So I do, whenever I make songs now, always imagine myself singing on stage. And if I feel like, no, this song doesn't really like make me excited about singing it live, then I think there's something wrong with the song. Like, even if it's a ballad, for example, I have to be able to imagine myself singing it on stage and imagine me connecting with the crowd. Like that's the way I create songs right now.
So it doesn't have to be energetic, but it has to be a way. The song has to be able to connect with the fans.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that makes a huge difference, I think, when I'm writing songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If we compare this with a lot of kind of like Nico artists, usually for them, it's like you just put out the song there and it's out there on the internet and anyone can listen to it. But you won't be able to participate as a live audience for that song. And that's one of the things that I felt like it's a bit unfortunate, so to say. And that happens a lot with like the doujin bands.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's great that you try to find a way to counteract that.
You know, it's probably very old school. The style that I do music is very old school. Like, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or like the Beatles, you know, everything is about doing lives. You know, the recording is the main thing. It's how they get their music out there. But doing shows and, you know, was the ultimate goal. You know, even artists like, you know, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, those kind of 90s, you know, early 2000 rock bands. They make music, but it's to do tours and to do shows, you know, it's to connect with the real live fans.
Yeah.
So I'm probably like a very old school style of musician compared to the recent more Japanese, you know, like net music, you know, that's a completely different genre, I feel like. And both have their, you know, pros and cons. And I think it's really hard to compare the two. You know, being able to listen to, for example, Vocaloids or Vocaloid music or recent sort of doujin music just online is good in a way, because some people just need like sound in their ears and really don't need to be able to experience that, you know, live experience. It's just a completely different genre. And so, you know, I don't really compare the two, to be honest. And yeah, I love both, actually.
What if I compare this with VTubers?
You know, VTubers is a world that I have really very, very little knowledge about. And I just feel it's an amazing world because so many people are interested, you know, in that world. And the VTubers, like oh my gosh, you know, the influence they have on the world right now is so huge. But you know, like if I were to ever do something like that, I don't think I'd be able to do it, because I'm just a completely very like physical person. I need to be physical. I need to be able to see my audience, you know. And so I just, you know, probably am not cut out to be a VTuber or anything, but I'm amazed that, you know, there's such a world out there that has influence, and I'm sure that, you know, this generation, you know, needs that kind of very accessible, very close. I do feel like you feel more close to those internet, like internet songs and VTubers. You feel more close to them because they're like right there. Like there's only a screen between you guys, and they're very real. You know, they talk about real stuff. They're very down to earth. They're like, hey, yeah, you know, I had lunch today. You know, they talk about themselves in a very realistic way. And I think in this generation, that's very important, because people don't want fake now. They want real, you know, and they like accessible artists. They like, you know, people who are more relatable instead of like, you know, a diva or like, you know, like a very far away kind of person. So I do feel like, you know, it's very important to be realistic now, and that's sort of helping people feel more confident about themselves as well. You know, because I'm not a VTuber and because I'm not too familiar with that, I'm a very analog person. And I do feel like, you know, real connections. I'm a person that really, really loves that as well. And that's why even though I'm able to, like, if I were to like stream my shows, I would be able to stream my shows like around the world, and I wouldn't have to go around the world, because, you know, it does take a lot of energy and money and time to go around the world in person to do shows. But I would never ever take like the like live streaming over going there and doing a show, because I want to see everyone. I want to be able to have people listen to my real voice, you know. And so I'm just that kind of person where I like to see that person, you know, real person. And I guess as, you know, a VTuber, you might not have the opportunity to be able to have direct contact with your fans, and maybe that's a little bit sad, but there must be like some sort of like excitement in that as well, like not knowing, you know, forever not knowing who that person really is. But in the end, it's kind of the same as Nico in the past, where nobody was, you know, showing their faces as Utaite.
Yeah.
And no one expected the Utaite community to like explode that big.
Yes, yeah.
And nobody expected like Nico Nico music to become major. And so I think when we were all doing that as a hobby back then, like we never thought that Utaite would someday like stand on stage and actually be direct, do direct shows with fans. And so yeah, it's a huge surprise. But
maybe the industry, all of the big labels are now getting it, and now they understand the potential of Nico Nico. During one period where a lot of Nico Nico artists started to go major label.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. To me, that was mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been following, not specifically Nico Nico, but doujin in general.
Yeah.
And when you see those artists that were so indie, so small, become mainstream, that itself is a crazy experience in my opinion.
It is. And to see them like on like public TV.
Yes.
Sometimes,
yeah.
It's like, wow. Like on NHK, like on the New Year's show, Kohaku.
Yeah.
Like a Utaite.
Yes.
Like saying there, I'm like, wow. Wow, the world. What is the... Yeah, it's insane.
We need to get you there.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm going around the world, not just in Japan. I feel like my ultimate goal is not to be able to sing to as many people just in Japan, but really, really to reach out globally. And so I'm always like, of course I would love to be able to go around more in Japan as well. I haven't been able to do that much, but right now, like, I do feel it's my chance and time to go to as many different countries as possible because the world is so digital now, because that in the opposite, it's my timing that I need to go physically.
Yeah.
So I'm going against the waves right now, but I think there's more rewarding things beyond those big waves that I need to overcome.
That's really great to hear, especially for the overseas audience that don't get that big of a chunk of Japanese music.
Yeah.
If we jump back to anisong, Do or Die is, of course, a anisong. And you have done a lot of anisongs recently. When I went to Tower Records, I went to the J-pop section and I couldn't find your music there.
Oh, no.
But your music was in the anime section.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you feel about that as a musician?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, actually, I never really felt like an anime song artist. Like, I never categorized myself like as an anison singer. And so when someone said, Nano, the anison singer, I was like, am I an anison singer? Or am I just a singer, or a rock singer? What am I? But now I do feel very proud to be called an anison singer because I guess, back then, I guess anime wasn't as huge as it was now. So it was more like a subculture, underground. And so I felt like maybe being an anison singer would limit me. Like I felt like it would limit my reach to as many people as possible. But now, since anime is so worldwide and so huge, I mean, there are like anime singers who are on the Billboard charts in the US, which is insane, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like now I am proud to be ever called an anime singer because it's what people around the world will relate to. Like, oh, you sing anime, that's awesome. But if I was just a singer, Nano, I could just be anywhere and people would be like, so what do you sing? But when there's anime, people are like, yeah, anime, And so in a way, I do feel like this generation is evolved. It's changed so much. And thanks to anime, people are enjoying music worldwide. I'm able to go to so many countries because of anime now. If I weren't an anime song singer, I probably wouldn't be able to go to half those countries that I'm going to now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't enjoy just singing anime songs. Like, I'm not just saying like, I'm only going to sing type songs. I'm only going to sing to the anime community. If possible, I would like to have, my non-anime songs be known as well.
Absolutely.
And I would love to be able to do shows that aren't just, do shows that aren't just about anime. Like, people who genuinely love music to come to my shows. And so, like, I'm trying to find a good like way to do that right now. That's probably my biggest sort of hurdle right now, is to keep doing anime songs as well, but also keep doing my own sounds and have people really, really enjoy that as well. Yeah.
So you've been to AFA recently, and also you went to Germany also recently. When you picked out your set list for those, what went through your head considering the things we just talked about?
I always like make it a point. Well, if it's like an anime event, then of course I'm not going to just sing like original songs, because people are going to be like, so why is this person here? Right?
Yeah.
So of course, and I do make it a point to be able to put songs there that everyone knows as well, because there are going to be people at the event that have no clue who NANO is, but they might have heard my songs before. Or even if they don't know any of my songs, I think anime songs do have that catchy essence that people will enjoy even if they don't know the song itself. But then in between those songs, or like, you know, like in the set list, I like stick in my own like favorites.
Yeah.
So that, but something that doesn't feel way out of place, you know. It could be an anime song, but isn't an anime song. Or something that says like, you know, this is NANO, you know, nice to meet you. And have like a storyline in there, like from song 1 to the end of the show. In a way, something that expresses who NANO really is. Like they experience one of my shows and then they somehow know me better. They somehow feel like they've connected with me as a human as well. And so when I pick songs, I make sure that I put in songs that I feel really, really make me feel connected with the crowd. And that usually only happens with my original songs. Like, you know, anime songs really, really rev up the crowd and hype everyone up. But the songs that really feel like I'm talking with the audience is my original songs.
Yeah.
So like Magenta is not a tie-up song, but people really feel like the connection with that.
Yeah.
And like those kinds of songs that not necessarily don't have tie-ups, but people grow to love. So definitely those. But I try to change it up a little bit every time, not sing the same set list everywhere. Because, you know, people will be like, you know, yeah, I like those songs, but I'm getting kind of, you know, tired of hearing them every single time. So I make it a challenge for me to kind of see if I can try new songs.
So you had different set lists on those two events?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And was there anything particular that you was thinking about?
I guess like, but even picking anime songs, for example, like when it comes to anime songs, like different animes are popular in different countries.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's not always like of course there are songs of mine that are heard more so like widely, but then there are less well-known anime songs that are not known here but are known there. And so I don't really want to like pick a song that is completely off for that country. Like, you know, some countries like ballads more, but other countries like really, really fast songs, you know, it's different. So I try to like sort of research, see what kind of animes are popular in different countries, or sounds that are popular in different countries. And so like, yeah, it's always in a way challenging to be able to see beforehand what the crowd is going to enjoy. So
AFA was in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
And the German convention was, what was that one called?
It was Anime Messe Babelsberg.
Yes. And usually with Germany, at least my impression and the concerts that have been there, they like more stuff that is more like rough, like Hagishi.
Yeah, definitely.
And Indonesia, my perception, I don't really have a perception of that part. But what was your perception?
I think like Indonesia as well is a separate country in itself, but I think Asia in general really likes sort of like catchy, maybe more pop-like sounds.
Yeah.
Something, they also like the kawaii bunga, you know, they like ballads as well. And so like I try to pick songs that are very, very like pop, catchy, like something that everyone can like, you know, groove to. But then in Germany, because I went there with my band last year as well.
Yeah.
I do feel like they really like rock and roll. Like they love the heavy stuff, you know, and they also sing those heavy stuff. They're like, "Ah," and they really, really know how to rock out to rock and roll. So I try to put in songs that are more like band-like or more rock and roll. And then in Indonesia, for example, I did songs that are more like pop, a little bit more pop-like, or a little bit more call and response kind of songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit different there.
Yeah. And you also went to Germany with Ron or Sterda Foundation?
Yeah, just the other time.
Exactly. And he's also bilingual.
Yeah, he is.
So I wanted to ask you, how is it when you connect with other musicians that are bilingual? Do you feel like it's easier to connect, or is there no difference?
A little bit of me does feel that it's easier to connect because they're also very open to many different like cultures, and they understand like what it's like having a lot of things inside you, and their like intuition or their rules that they live by are very free sometimes. So I've had the chance to work with, or get to know people like Ron, for example. I'm also Kiho from Myth and Roy is also bilingual.
Yeah.
And so, all these artists that I've met that have experience overseas or have an appreciation for a language other than Japanese, we do like feel a little bit of like a sort of friendship.
It's like an invisible connection.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I understand. Like, yeah, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
And so it's easier, I think, to be able to talk to them. Sometimes I think born Japanese raised people tend to be a little bit shy when it comes to making new friends, or they're very friendly, but at the same time, I think they're very shy, And so sometimes when people have experience living overseas, they're more like open to new connections easily. So it's easier to get to know people. And I do take that chance to be able to get to know people when I'm overseas. It's like I don't know, it's a good thing about going overseas. You make more friends than when you're just working in Japan.
Okay, that's cool. So speaking about the music industry, from my personal perspective, I feel that Japanese music has a lot of potential, but the Japanese music industry in general, in broad stroke, they might be limited to the domestic market. They're focusing mainly on the domestic market.
Yeah.
So if we compare this with, for example, K-pop, they have preserved their identity while still pushing for a global audience. So what is your opinion on this?
It's so difficult, and I think that we could talk about 5 hours about this. It's a really deep and very, very extensive topic. But putting it in a nutshell, there are good things and bad things about both, I think. As an artist, from an artist point of view, I have to say that in the past, I did have very, very, I did feel that there were very big hurdles about being in a very protected community, like in Japan, because it was hard 10 years ago to get your music more out into the audience. I think people didn't have an opportunity to really listen to a lot of Japanese content. It was harder to get your hands on Japanese things, even anime, for example. Now it's easier to get, Japanese content, but before it was a lot difficult, even as an artist belonging to a label that didn't have an international YouTube, didn't put their music on Spotify. I was like, how is this working with me? Because I'm trying to get my music out there, and I'm saying NANO is a worldwide, global musician, but what I'm doing isn't really global because my music isn't accessible to the global community. So I'm kind of like, in a way lying to the world, because I'm saying that, but I'm not doing what I need to be done. So I was kind of battling with the Japanese, industry to be able to get my music out there. I was always saying like, please get my music videos to be able to be seen in different countries. But, Japan very slowly became more open and open and open. And now they're opening their sort of borders. But they're also still kind of protecting, which is different from the way K-pop does it. They're not just selling completely to the international world. But the good thing about that is Japan is still very Japanese. I think in a lot of Asian countries, like, you know, the culture has become very, very worldwide as well. There are many, that's good as well. But I think one of the reasons why Japan is so, like, I don't know, being appreciated right now is because it's still very Japanese.
Yeah.
It's unique to the world. When you come to Japan, you do feel like a foreigner, probably, when you come to Japan. But that is a good reason because it means that you're able to appreciate very sort of like strong essence of Japan, something that is not like mixed with a lot of different cultures. And even though Japan is still evolving and still becoming more open, that part of Japan is still remains.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, that's a good thing, you know, to be able to preserve something only Japan can create, or like music, you know, it's J-pop is J-pop. J-pop is not like world music, you know? So yeah, maybe it's a difficult topic though.
Yeah. Without trying to get into politics.
Yeah.
But what you said, I think so too. And because if Japan didn't offer a different experience from the rest of the world, it would be quite boring. Like Europe is very similar across Europe, in my opinion. And I would feel sad if Japan would just incorporate like a European culture and just not be Japan anymore and lose its identity.
Like, you know, I know that this is completely like, you know, straying from the interview.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I just feel though that like, you know, if, of course, you know, tourism is becoming big in Japan, and there are a lot of foreign tourists coming into Japan, and it would be easier for the tourists if Japanese people could speak more English, because I think Japanese is like the country with the least English skills. And sometimes it does frustrate me that English is not like at all, you know, like, I don't know, conversational in Japan. But at the same time, I do feel like if you're going to come to Japan as a tourist, then that's also a way to enjoy Japan. Like, not being able to speak in English, you know, not being able to say like, you know, something in English and having everyone understand, like that difficulty is also another good experience of experiencing that culture, you know, to really, really feel the essence of Japan.
Yeah.
So like, I do think maybe it's not a bad thing that everything isn't in like, you know, English in Japan because I've gone around the world, I've gone to a lot of Asian countries, but everything is accessible in English. Like if you say something to the convenience store clerk, they'll be like, okay. But they understand it to the, you know, at the minimal extent. But in Japan, they're like, huh? No? Yeah, wakarimasen? You know, they don't even try to speak English to you. They just don't understand English. So it is hard, but I think maybe it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And if anyone is jumping in here and don't know NANO.
They're like...
I mean, NANO is, of course, someone who's been brought up in the States.
Yeah.
So that's from that perspective that we get this opinion from. As we mentioned, you already passed your 10th anniversary. What visions do you have for the future?
You know, like I keep saying, like I definitely want to keep evolving. I always want to stay curious. I always want to stay hungry. I don't ever want to feel like I'm full, like, you know, I've had enough, you know. I don't think I'll ever feel like that, but I don't want to, that's not my goal, to feel fulfilled. My goal is to keep moving forward. And even if it means to always be hungry in a way, that's good for me, because like it means that, you know, there's a future. I'm always needing something more in my life, and that is what music is there for, to feel like I need something more to keep going forward. And so, you know, if you're satisfied or if you're fulfilled, then that's the end of the road for you, when whatever you're aiming for. And there's no end to people feeling lonely. There's no matter how the world evolves, no matter how technology evolves, as long as humans exist, there's always going to be someone in pain. There's always going to be someone who's feeling lonely, or, you know, there's never like everyone is going to be completely happy with their life. And as long as that exists, then there's need for people who want to reach out to those people through music or whatever it is. Even if it's not just music, even if it's like whatever, movies or books or whatever it is, that's what these things are there for, to help people or to give a little, light to people. And as long as the need is there, I'm going to keep, doing what I'm doing. And it's just that the ways to do that change as time goes on. Digital things are evolving, everything becomes more technology based, but the core essence, the reason that people do these things will never change. So, that's what I'm there for. And so, yeah, as long as humans exist, I guess I'll have to keep singing because, there's always going to be a reason to do that.
So your vision, would you say that is a global vision, or just would you have a different vision for Japan and different vision for overseas?
I don't really look at Japan and the world being on a different axis. I always think the people are the same. It's just that there are country borders, language barriers, and everything. But in the end, everyone's the same in a good way. There's no difference or high or low, or there's no ranking when it comes to human beings, I feel like.
Yeah.
So everyone deserves to be happy in life. Everyone deserves to be able to enjoy the things they love doing. Everyone deserves to dream. And it's just that some people might not have the opportunity to be able to fulfill their dreams more. And those are the people that I really feel I want to reach with my music. And so, whether that's in Japan or whether that's in Germany or, Brazil or whatever it is, it really doesn't matter for me. So I guess if there are people in Japan that need my music, then yes, I will sing in Japan. If there are people that need my music in other countries, then yes, I will sing. So it's a worldwide mission for me, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I should ask you the last one, but it's just please leave a message to overseas fans. But I feel like you have done that.
Oh yeah, I've talked way too much. You probably already know what I need to say, but just I guess in the end, what I just want to say is thank you. That's the main reason that I go overseas. Of course, to be able to reach out to people and to sing live, but I guess the final message that I always want to express is thank you, and that's I can't explain what the thank you is for. Of course, there are many things thank you for listening to my music, thank you for inviting me, but there's so many more meanings behind thank you. Thank you for existing. Thank you for, everything, so that's my main message I want to say always. So even now, thank you for interviewing me. Thank you for watching, and just thank you in general, I guess. And rock on.
Yeah, and rock on.
Rock on.
That's most important.
That's most important. Sorry, I lied. Thank you is important too, but rock on is more important.
Okay, let's rock on then.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.